Blood for the blood god. Skulls for the skull throne.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today it's going to be something pretty exciting for me anyway. I have just finished the last model for what I currently own for my World Eaters army. As you can probably see, this is a mostly Kitbashed army, similar to my Kroot force, but you know, this isn't entirely what I'm known for here. But I just thought with the upcoming World Eaters Codex and hopefully lots of new cool stuff coming from that, this would be a good time to get it all out and go through everything. Now, a number of these models have already got videos on the channel. Some certain characters and things have gone into Kitbashed showcases, and as you can see, there's quite a few things that will likely make it into one of those videos. So if you haven't seen one of these before, you haven't seen the Kroot one, I'm just going to quickly go through everything that I currently have and give a brief description of what it is and talk about, generally what my thoughts were behind it and all that kind of good stuff. So without further ado, we'll go into it. And we'll probably start with the boring stuff, these, the troops in the front, and work it back to the more exciting things behind them. So I'm going to try to zoom in here. And I'll bring things up as I talk about them. So to start off, we have my Berserkers. Now, this is a kitbash you've probably seen done many times, and there's certainly ones better than mine. These are just the Age of Sigmar, I think they're called Blood Warriors, or Warriors of Khorne. And obviously you have to do a little bit of kit bashing to make them passable as Berserkers, so we'll grab this guy right here. So this is the unit champion, so as you can see he's got a chain sword and a power fist. Of course, those are taken from Heretic Astartes units, and of course they all have a power pack. Now, the one thing that does suck about using this kit is that they all have, and I don't know how well you can see it, they all have these like black booties, which kind of ruin what they're trying to be, Chaos Space Marines. It's almost like they did it on purpose, where they've given them like passable, could be Chaos Space Marine armor, except the boots. So it's honestly starting to bug me quite a bit, especially with the fact that there's going to be new Berserkers coming, hopefully any day now. So what I have thought about doing is maybe just buying a unit of Marines of some sort and doing some sort of kit bash where I chop the legs off, which I'm kind of hesitant to do because I don't want to wreck the models. These guys all have like pretty cool and dynamic poses, and it might be, for anybody that's done that stuff before, it can be pretty hard to get like the right angle going for the feet and stuff. Like, it would be a lot of work for something that's kind of a nitpick, and so I'm still going to have a think about that, but it is one of those things I can see annoying me more and more down the road. So we'll go over here to the other unit. I only have 2 units of 5 of these guys, and that is actually because I, unlike some people, have been fully confident for a long time that we would see a World Eaters Codex in my lifetime. So even though there's been a lot of times where I've wanted more, I've been content with just these 10 for now. I usually run them as 2 units of 5, in the hope that I'm right and that my patience would be rewarded and we would get some new models. As you can see there, like the axes and stuff that come with the kit work pretty good, but on some of them I've replaced them with 40k weapons. This guy has I think that's just a Chaos Space Marine power axe, and everybody has a chainsword. These are all meant to be chainsword, chain axe guys. Actually, I remember this guy, I think, yeah, this guy here has 2 chainswords, just to be a little bit different. So, yep, we've got them, and then behind them, I'm just going to move a little bit, sorry. We have 2 units of Chaos Space Marines. These are just some bare bones, plain old Chaos Space Marines. And you know what, in fact, this is part of what I've been thinking. If I am going to go through with what I've considered and fix the legs on these guys, I might just take the legs from these guys and kind of smash the two together, because I have a funny feeling that in this new World Eaters Codex, normal Chaos Space Marines won't be in it. Because if we look at Thousand Suns and we look at Death Guard, normal Chaos Marines kind of don't make the cut. Maybe they'll make some sort of different World Eaters version of normal Space Marines that these can pass as. But yeah, I am kind of hesitant to really go all in that these guys are going to make it in. Not really much customization on them, just each squad has a heavy bolter and a champion of some sort. I made them in such a way that they could be running as a unit of 10. Now, that stuff is all pretty boring compared to what's coming, so we'll get that out of the way. Next up, and this is one of the first units I ever made, and this is kind of like the theme of the army, is I wanted it to be like, this is a desert planet. We've got a lot of Mad Max theme going on. This is a small raiding group of World Eaters, and they are like trying their best to be separate from chaos, not fully, warped and nasty. And so they get by stealing machines and stuff and vehicles from other factions and using them rather than relying on demon stuff. Now, this is a unit of 5 bikers. I made this guy, he's on the bigger base so that he can be run as the unit champion. Each one of them is quite kitbashed and unique, so I'll one at a time, I'll hold them up and I'll just kind of keep talking. This guy here could easily be the sergeant for the squad as well. He's got this cool chain lance I made. He's got that cool hand. I believe that hand is from an Age of Sigmar kit. Try to get to focus. There we go. So it's kind of, maybe he's got maybe there's a demon living in that gauntlet. Who knows? But he's popping a pretty sick wheelie. Not as sick as this guy though, who's popping a front wheelie. And I actually made the model such that, let me see here. Boop. You can do it in game, and because of that big rock on the back, it does balance out. So yeah, the old Chaos Biker wheels do let you do some fun stuff and move like that. Sorry, I know it's not focusing, but yeah, he's customized too. I was pretty impressed. The old Chaos Biker kits, they do let you do quite a bit. I've replaced most of their torsos with newer Chaos Space Marine bits to make them a little bit bigger. Yeah, just through ripping off the front armor pieces, you can do some pretty cool stuff. Like this piece I think is from a Mauler Fiend, and then we've got a different Storm Bolter up here, and as you can see he's about to jump off the bike. Same with this guy, there's an extra little bit of armor on the front of the wheel just to make things different. Moving on from them, we've got this one here. He has he's strapped a heavy bolter to the front of his and ripped off some of the armor. So you can see he's got a kill tally there going on the front of his bike. These were a lot of fun. These were one of the first models I did for the army, and this was I imagine kind of having just tons and tons of bikers and other vehicles and just being super fast and cool that way. This is probably the most, I think this is the most normal of all of them. As you can see, he's got a decapitated Tau on there, typical World Eaters fashion, getting lots of skulls. They're a really fun army to paint. It's fun to, because it's they got the detail, but you can go super dirty on them with lots of blood and armor damage and whatnot. And then here is, so this guy will either be the unit sergeant or, but it was funny, I started this army right before they went and did it, before Chaos Lord on bike was Legends. So I actually had 2 at one point. I was running 2 Chaos Lords on bike, so this was one of them. Obviously they can't take a chain fist, I would just run that as a power fist, but this is one of the 30k bikes. They're a little bit more streamlined and fancy looking. Strapped all kinds of skulls and stuff to it. It's got plasma guns on the front. Pretty rad. Slide them off to the side. We've got, now this guy is the first model I'll show off that he already has his own video. So if you like the look of this guy, you'll be happy to know he has his own video. So this is the first of 2 of my Hell Brutes. Both of them are meant to be equipped the same, with a Power Scourge represented by his various stabby tentacles, and a twin las cannon, which he has up there. So not much to say there. Like I said, he has a whole video going over him. One of my favorite models, and one of the newest models in the army. This was my original Hell Brute. A little bit simpler of a kitbash. This is just like a tricked out 30k AdMech robot. I use a lot of those in this army, and that's what I was saying, is that these World Eaters have recently stolen a whole lot of demon engines and or robots from the Dark Mechanicus, and are using them in place of demons and demonic units, because they're trying to, while they are anti-imperials, they are trying to stay away from chaos. So same thing with this guy. I run him with a Power Scourge and a las cannon, even though he only has 1 las cannon, not 2, and chainsaw arms. But I guess you could run him with fists too. But pretty cool. He's like a little bit small to be a Hell Brute, but it's not too bad. He's on the right size base, so that's the most important part. Next we have this friend here. This is my Demon Prince, and again, trying to not go full demon. This is a guy who was, Khorne was trying to take him, Khorne was trying to turn him into a Demon Prince, and he managed to resist it or fight it off somehow. Maybe it was the chemicals in him being injected into him, maybe he did it on his own, but he kind of got stuck halfway in between. So he's kind of kept his sanity a little bit, or kept his mortality a little bit. He's not quite a demon, so the other guys are letting him stick around. And again, this guy has his own video, so if you'd like to see how he's made and what parts are used and stuff, feel free to check that out. It will be on the channel under Kitbashed Showcase. Put him there. Now we have this is my Dark Apostle, and while he doesn't have his own video, he did feature in one of my oldest videos. So not too much to say there. It's a World Eater's Dark Apostle. Of course, he does not have books. You think World Eaters can read? Silly people. Definitely not reading, definitely not summoning demons. And then these are his little acolytes. Let's bring them up here. So this is the first. Again, I don't think he would be reading. I don't think he would be chanting prayers and whatnot. I think he's just killing, and Khorne likes it, and that's why he's his Dark Apostle. So this little guy is his head collector. Just a little serf or a little slave guy who goes around collecting skulls after the World Eaters. Because again, can you imagine the World Eaters building little shrines and stuff all over the place? Like, I don't think they have time for that. They're too busy killing people. And then here is one little such shrine. So this is the other of his little dudes that are meant to follow him around. So that's the set there, and that was my logic behind it, that he wouldn't have books and prayers and stuff. He would just be killing extra hard with dual wielding maces, and then he'd have his little friend there to help him out. Now this guy again has a video on the channel already. This is my original Warlord for the army. This is my Chaos Lord on bike. You could probably also play him with as a Demon Prince, considering he has a Demon Prince axe in his hand. A ton of fun making this guy, and again, this is one of the first units I made for the army. This is one of the first units that made me excited to build this crazy Mad Max World Eater army, and then they went and Legends him on me. So he actually hasn't seen a game in a while, but that could change any day, because I do really enjoy him. And what's funny with him too is I made the wheels so they could all still spin, so he can zoom around the table and have a lot of fun. I'm just going to try to kind of organize these better and put them back where they were a little bit. Okay. Next, I'm not even going to spend 5 minutes on these, but just some really quick and dirty Rhinos. I'd put almost zero effort into these. I didn't even bother removing the Imperial Quillas and whatnot, because again, I'm just saying that the World Eaters stole these from somebody, and the fact that they managed to slap a coat of paint on them is more than could be expected anyway. So I highly doubt the World Eaters would take the time to chip all the little Imperial symbols and stuff off. And the reason these look so rough is because they were actually orc trucks. A guy I bought something else off of, he threw these in as well, and they were actually had a whole ton of like armor plates hot glued onto them and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's fine. Just chipped all that off and then painted them up as some quick and dirty World Eaters Rhinos. Now, the next vehicle I did put a fair amount of effort into, and that is my World Eaters Land Raider. Now, not much kit bashing going on here, but it was a lot of fun to paint. Now, the main customizing I did was, of course, this is a World Eaters Land Raider. It's going to be going headfirst into all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's just covered in bullet holes of all sorts. And just a really cool model. And for a while it was the biggest model in the army and kind of the centerpiece. But as you can see, that's changed now. Moving on, we have some Chaos Terminators. Again, I won't spend too much time on these guys just because they aren't kitbashed. So they're not really my normal thing. I really like the new Chaos Terminators. They have a lot of personality, but again, I am pretty confident that we're going to see some cool World Eaters specific Terminators. So as much as I like these guys in game, of course you run them as Red Butchers. I never felt the need to buy more than 5 because I have a strong suspicion there's going to be some unique ones coming. Of course, you're painting World Eaters, you go through about a gallon of Blood for the Blood God paint, slathering that on everywhere. A lot of fun. Now this is one of my favorite models in the whole army. This is my Lord Discordant on Hellstalker. Now, I've brought this up in videos before, but this guy actually got me so much internet golden points that the man himself, Duncan Rhodes, even gave his stamp of approval. He will definitely be getting his own Kitbashed showcase video sometime soon, because he's one of my favorite kitbashes that I've done. The lighting here is kind of weird. It's kind of making the colors look a little bit strange, but anyways, the quick and dirty is that this is an AdMech, what are they called, an Iron Strider, with parts from all over the place. There's Age of Sigmar, there's different 40k factions, not much to say. Again, trying to keep away from the demonic side of things. I like the normal Hellstalker thing. I did not like the tentacle hentai monster head on it. So I thought, well, what if he stole some crazy corrupted machine from the Dark Mechanicus? Maybe a corrupted Magos was riding around on this thing, and it's a twisted machine that they fused with maybe the brain and maybe the skull and whatnot of some sort of alien creature. This is some sort of alien reptile type creature, but so it's not technically demonic. It's more like undead cybernetics. I don't know, but yeah, really like this guy. Really happy with how he turned out. And there is on my Patreon, for anyone curious, a quick painting tutorial on how to paint dirty old bones, similar to how you see here. So for anyone curious about that, there's some other cool stuff on there. I won't give anything away, but there is the odd painting tutorial, as the patrons I'm sure can attest. Alright, moving on from there, of course, Lord Discordants, they're meant to lead demon engines, so we must have some demon engines in here. And there's a couple. couple big ones. We'll start in order of being made, I guess. So this was my first demon engine for the army, and this is my original Defiler. This guy also was quite popular online. I think if you Google still, like World Eaters Defiler, or Defiler Kitbash, like this guy's one of the first ones that comes up. But yeah, not a ton to say on this guy. I mean, it's a model a lot of people aren't familiar with, but it's actually not that different from the base model. So this is a 30k AdMech Thanatar, which is their biggest, or one of their biggest type of like combat robot. And yeah, so the reason he's on such a big base is because the Defiler is meant to be so wide with his like big crab claws, and he was on a smaller base originally, but it felt kind of weird that he wasn't wide enough. So he's on this great big base, which was also a lot of fun to build and paint, just to represent him a little bit better in game. Because I love him too much. Unfortunately, because I've thought about it, I love him too much to slice him in half at the middle and put the crab claws underneath him. So he is going to stay the way he is. He's one of the first models in the army again, and I just love him a lot. This arm, for anyone wondering, is well, first of all, it's movable, as I just moved it, and it's meant to be a proxy for the Knight Moiraxes, which are the armigers from Forge World. So it's meant to be one of their claws, but it's a third-party bit. It's a guy called Taro Model Maker who makes all kinds of really cool proxy Knight parts. And then, of course, we have lots of skulls, and we have some cool robotic tendrils to represent the Defiler's Power Scourge. He's got some sort of a big bolt weapon there to represent like a twin heavy bolter. And then this would be like your Defiler battle cannon. So he actually has like kind of the right armaments, even though his proportions are quite a bit different. He's definitely taller than a Defiler, just not quite as wide. Or yeah, definitely not as wide. But that's why he's on such a big base to kind of like if you had this next to a real Defiler, they do kind of take up the same amount of space now. So that's something that I've talked about in some of my Kitbashed videos before, where you can do things like this, like putting things on, make sure they're on the right base. Then you can fill the base out with big things like that, to kind of help get away with Kitbashes that otherwise would be pretty far off what they're trying to be. So following him, we have our second Defiler, who is even more wild than the first. Try not to break anything in this video, holy. So this is definitely closer to what you're probably used to picturing when you think of Defiler. So he, of course, has the crazy spider crab legs, about to smash somebody with that big one. That is what we would call a proper Defiler Scourge. Some great big whippy stabby claws. Keeping again with our theme of stealing stuff from the Dark Mechanicus, he's got that going on, and then he's got his other ballistic weapon over here. That would be the auto cannons, I guess, or it could just be the heavy bolters as well. And then this thing would be his, in this case, this would be his Defiler cannon, or battle cannon. So this is, for anyone that can't tell, this is a Necron, I think it's called a Triarch Stalker, lower half mixed with, that's another 30k AdMech top, and then a bunch of other bits in there. This is another guy that will get his own video sometime soon where I'll go over it in more detail. But again, just another really cool, like this could easily be the centerpiece of a particular army. That gun is magnetized too, and it can spin around if I wanted to change it for something else, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. So we'll set him aside, and then we'll get the biggest guy on the table. Maybe I'll just leave him where he is and risk breaking him. So if you're on my Instagram, you would have just seen this guy. I just finished this the other day. But this is my Lord of Skulls. And I have had this guy built forever, but have just now started painting him in the last couple days. And I'm happy to say that he's finished, and I think he's looking quite good. Now, not a crazy kitbash here. The only thing is, of course, adding the chains for World Eaters. That's pretty essential. And then, while I do think it's fun, and I do like the normal Thomas the Tank Engine train bottom, it just never really, I don't know. Of all the silly things in 40k, for some reason, my brain just decided it didn't like that one. And I always wanted him to have legs. I've seen people replace the legs with Defiler legs, and maybe I'll have one of those pop up on the screen right now. And while some of them do look quite good, they still just look almost a little bit too small. So I would have to do something else with it to bulk it out a little bit more. Or I could go the easy route and do what I've done here, which is to 3D print some legs. Now, full credit where credit's due, this was not my idea. I've said that to a couple people commenting on my post that were asking me, wow, or saying like, oh, that's amazing, whatever. There's a guy on Reddit, and it's been at least a year, I think, since I saw the post, so I couldn't find the user or whatever. Maybe if you Google Lord of Skulls Kitbashes or Lord of Skulls with legs or something, you'll be able to find it. But anyway, there was another guy who did the exact same thing, and I stole the idea off him. So these legs are 3D printed, and they are meant to be for an Onager Dune Crawler. I think that's how you say it. That's for the AdMech. It's their little spider walker tank. And so if you do find the file for that, or if you do want to do this, you'll have to print them at a bigger size. I'm sorry, I also can't remember the size, but it was either 2 times or 2.5 times, something like that, to get it to fit right. And you might have to experiment a little bit with it to make sure. But yeah, so that's all that was up with him. And that is the whole army as of right now. I have a ton of ideas to expand this army in the future. But at the moment, of course, with the codex coming out, I am just going to wait and see what all is in it. And of course, I should probably set a little bit of money aside because rumor is that Daddy Angron is coming. My boy Chapter Master Valrak just posted or just tweeted about it, I guess. He said that he's seen the model. So usually when images start getting leaked like that, it means it's not too far away that we start seeing stuff. So fingers crossed. Any day now we see Angron and hopefully some new Berserkers and maybe some cool Berserker Terminators or something. So anyways, thanks all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel and if you'd like to see any kit bashes like the stuff in here early, feel free to check out my Patreon. The link will be in the description or in the description below. I post all my work in progress stuff there. People in there also get access to some exclusive stuff like little painting tutorials, and it's nothing crazy and it's only $1. Feel free to check it out if you want to, but no obligation either way. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time every day to check out the video, and I will see you guys next time. Probably the next video will be like a battle report unless something crazy happens, but either way, bye for now.